Osiris's Murder and Dismemberment. By Egyptian Classical Tales. Brought to you by TellStory.net, stories from around the world. Long, long ago, when the gods still walked the earth and the Nile ran silver under a younger sun, there ruled a king whose name was spoken with reverence from the marshes to the mountains. His name was Osiris. Green as new grain, tall and grave and luminous, he was everything the earth needed, patient, wise, and generous. Under his reign, crops grew thick. Laws were fair. The poor were fed, and the fields were never barren. Even the stars seemed to burn a little brighter in those days. At his side stood Isis, his queen, his equal, his match in every way. She was magic made divine, quick-minded, fierce-hearted, and so deeply bound to Osiris that the world itself could feel it when they were near each other. Together, they were not merely rulers. They were creation in balance. But balance always has its shadow. Seth, the younger brother of Osiris, was a god of fire and fury. Where Osiris was green and growing, Seth was red and burning, the color of desert sand at noon, of copper blades, of things that scorch and scar. He was the god of storms and chaos, of the hard edges the world cannot do without. He had his place in the order of things. But Seth didn't want his place. He wanted everything: the throne, the people's love, and above all, Isis. He had desired her since the very beginning of time. She had looked right through him and chosen Osiris without a second thought, and that wound had never closed.
Why him? Why always him?
So Seth began to plan. He was patient about it. Ruthlessly patient. A direct attack would fail. Osiris was too beloved, too powerful, too protected. So he worked from the shadows instead. He found the discontented, minor gods who felt overlooked, divine beings who thought their worth was undervalued. He filled their ears with careful words about change, about stagnation, about the need for new blood at the top.
Osiris has grown comfortable. Is that the kind of king the cosmos deserves?
One by one, they swore themselves to his cause. By the time he was ready, 72 divine beings stood behind him. 72. And no one suspected a thing. The plan revealed itself at a festival, the anniversary of Osiris's coronation, a night of feasting and celebration and laughter everywhere. Seth arrived bearing a gift, a chest of breathtaking beauty. Cedarwood banded in gold, set with carnelian and lapis lazuli, carved with scenes from the dawn of time. Every eye in the hall followed it.
I thought we'd make a game of it. Whoever fits inside this chest perfectly, entirely, may keep it. A prize for the night.
The gods lined up eagerly. One by one they climbed in and climbed out, disappointed. Too tall. Too wide. Too short. None fit. What none of them knew was that Seth had measured his brother in secret, while Osiris slept, and the chest had been built to those precise dimensions and no others.
Come, brother. Surely the king should try.
Osiris laughed and stepped forward. He lay down. He filled the space precisely, as though the chest had always been waiting for him. It had. The lid slammed down. Metal bands snapped into place. Conspirators surged from the crowd. Isis screamed and lunged and was seized by a dozen hands.
Seth, what are you doing, Seth?
You've ruled long enough, brother. It's time for someone else.
They carried the chest to the Nile and threw it in without ceremony, without even pausing to watch where it landed. The current caught it. The river, Osiris's own sacred river, bore him away. Inside, the air gave out. The water came in. and the god of life drowned in the dark. The moment Osiris died, the world knew. Grain withered on the stalk. The Nile pulled back from its banks. Animals stopped giving birth. The sun god Ra dimmed his light, as if he could not bear to look. The land went hollow with grief. Seth claimed the throne that same day. He wore the crown, issued decrees, proclaimed his reign. But the earth would not respond to him the way it had to Osiris. The floods came wrong. The harvest failed. Beneath every surface of apparent obedience, the world was in mourning.
The earth will not heal until its true king is honored. And neither will I rest until he is.
Seth banished her from court. She walked out and began to search. For months she moved along the Nile in disguise, a common woman, tired and road-worn, asking every fisherman and bargeman she passed if they had seen a chest of cedar and gold. The trail led north out of Egypt entirely, across the sea, to the Phoenician city of Byblos, where no one knew her by name or face. She found the chest in a palace pillar. When the sealed chest had drifted ashore at Byblos, a tamarisk tree had grown over it with impossible speed, grown around it, the trunk closing over the cedar the way a fist closes over something precious. The people of the city had marveled at the tree, its extraordinary growth, its strange sweet fragrance, like sorrow given a scent. The king had ordered it felled and made into a column for his hall. Isis got herself hired as a nursemaid and waited. Each night, when the palace slept, she crept to the pillar and pressed her palms against the wood and spoke her husband's name into the dark. She was doing this, her forehead against the column, murmuring, when the queen found her.
Who are you? What are you doing to my pillar?
Isis straightened. Her disguise fell away like a shed skin. The corridor flooded with light that had no lamp, no source, no comparison.
I am Isis. And my husband is inside your column.
The queen gave her what she needed. The pillar was dismantled. The chest was opened. Osiris lay within it. Dark as river silt now, still and cold, but undiminished. Death had changed the quality of his beauty, not taken it. He was not gone. He was somewhere just past somewhere. Isis lay across him and wept. Her tears had power enough to restore life to withered fields, to dried riverbeds, to crumbling stone, but not this. Not him. Not fully. Not yet. He stirred. His hand found her face.
Avenge me. And protect our son.
She wrapped him. She prepared him. She began the long journey home. Seth was waiting at the border. Of course he was. He had spies along every road and river. He stood at the edge of the delta with his followers at his back, and held out one hand, almost reasonably.
Give me the body, and I'll let you live.
Isis called the storm. It roared in from the desert and scattered his followers like dust. She ran, deep into the marshes, into the papyrus and dark green shadow, and for a while she was safe. But Seth came after her. By the time he caught up and tore the preserved body free, his rage had burned far past ambition, past jealousy, past any ordinary name for what consumed him. He did not simply destroy it. He dismembered it, cut it into 14 pieces and hurled each one in a different direction, north, south, into the desert, into the river, deep into the marsh mud.
Let your magic find and fix that.
Isis did not break. She called her sister Nephthys, who had at last seen her husband for what he truly was, and could no longer pretend otherwise, and together the two goddesses took the form of kites, the morning bird, and swept low across the land. Years passed. Every piece they found was gathered with reverence. 13 of the 14, they recovered. One was beyond reach. The Nile had taken it. Fish had eaten it. It was gone. So Isis made a new one, clay and gold and the most powerful fertility magic she knew. Then she did something that had never been done before. She laid all the pieces together on the ground of the delta. She wrapped them in bandages inscribed with the oldest protective spells, passed through moonlight until they glowed. She spoke Ra's secret name, the one she alone knew among all beings, and she took the form of a kite and hovered over the restored body, beating her wings, and breathed. Life did not return as it had been before. That path was closed. But something came, a flicker, a foothold, enough. Enough for voice. Enough for knowing. In that sacred moment she also conceived the child who would become Horus, the one who would grow to challenge Seth and put the world back in its rightful order. Osiris opened his eyes.
You did what the gods said was impossible. I will go to the underworld now. I will judge the dead. I will make death a passage, not a wall.
And our son?
He will come. And when he is grown, justice will come with him.
He closed his eyes. And this time, he went willingly into the dark. Isis hid herself in the papyrus marshes of the delta and waited for her son to be born. She named him Horus. She raised him in secret, in the green and sheltered silence of the reeds, shaping him into what he needed to become. Above them, Seth sat on his stolen throne in a land still half barren, issuing commands the earth would not obey. He had won everything. He was losing everything, one empty season at a time. In the marshes, the Avenger grew.